Good evening, councillors. Right, we shall begin. Item 1, to receive members' apologies for absence.
We have apologies for absence from Councillor Hobbs, who's on holiday, Councillor Torfik, who has personal circumstances, Borough Councillor Bullen and Ratcliffe, and County Councillor White.
Good. Everyone agree with that?
Yep.
Good. Item 2 then, to receive members' declarations of interest.
Yeah, item 541 and 549 on the bill payments, please.
Thank you.
Can I declare an interest in item 5?
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Move on to item 3, Town Clerk report.
I'm pleased to advise that the Council is working with the Tourism Officer at Kings Lynn and West Norfolk Borough Council on a couple of infrastructure projects to improve the look of the town. The Borough Council have offered a grant to help with regenerating the information point and other landmarks, and further information will follow as I hear more. Thank you.
Okay. I have to announce there will be no mayors at home this year. The Mayor's at Home budget has been incorporated into the Mayor's expenses this year, which takes up almost 80% of the funds available. So I'm left with a choice of visiting local communities in the mayoral round or supporting local clubs and organisations in the town. I choose local communities and local events. I hope most of you councillors will aspire to become mayor one day. It's a great honour and a great commitment, and you should be entitled to an event to join your friends and families and local dignitaries and the other mayors that you will have met throughout the year, which will promote and enforce the town status in the wider area. But all this must be funded reasonably for the sake of the mayor and the town in the following years. So as I said, there will be no mayoral at home this year. This is my 4th term as mayor, and with respect, I've been there and done that before. So I would rather use the mayor's funds to promote the town and support the local groups and organisations within the town. Okay? So. Item 4, public participation and written reports and written questions. County Council report.
And Councillor White's not here, and I haven't got a written report.
Borough Councillors' reports and questions. Councillor Bullen.
You've had the report circulated already, and he's not here tonight.
Councillor Osborne.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Fairly short, so I'll just go through a couple of things. Some of you may be aware there's a grant. I mean, we just heard about some other grants that are happening, but the Norfolk County Council and the Borough Council are doing the Love Your Town grants, which run, I think, until the 8th of December, sort of for businesses or other groups, up to £1,000, and it's all about increasing footfall. So if anyone is interested in that or knows people who might be, I believe it's the 8th of December, the deadline for that, and there's a kind of, you have to submit, a proposal, and then they will sort of look at that. So it's all about increasing footfall in town centres. So that's across the borough, but obviously there's only three town centres in the borough anyway. I attended police priority panel shortly after the last town council meeting last month, and the main thing really to come away from that is the consultation that the Police and Crime Commissioner is holding, and if anyone is interested in taking part in that, you don't have very long because it closes on Friday the 24th of November, so this Friday at 5 p.m, and that's basically around what priorities you want him to make and the police force as a whole in Norfolk before the kind of decision will be made in February on what's happening. And at the police priority panel, the PCC was talking about the likelihood really of raising the precept, and part of the consultation is about seeing, you know, whether the public support that. So, you know, whatever your views on that, I would suggest you make your voice sort of heard on there. In terms of things at the council, corporate performance panel, which I'm the vice chair of, had an interesting session where we once again supported the council tax support scheme of 100%. So that's going forward to cabinet, and we'll discuss it again at full council in January, which I think, you know, and other councillors think is quite a worthy scheme in the difficult circumstances some people are facing. And there was also quite an interesting update that I think is relevant, you know, to people here, because obviously a lot of people go to the north coast of you know, Heacham, Hunstanton, and that was on water quality from the Environment Agency and Anglian Water, and some interesting stuff there, a lot of which, you know, I didn't know about before. But essentially the big takeaway from the meeting is that the reason that Baffing water quality, certainly in Heacham, has declined is more probably to do with the sampling just getting better, and they've increased their standards. And also, you know, there's a lot of talk about the number of seabirds and the impact that their excrement basically has on the readings. So just some interesting scientific stuff. And yeah, apart from that, nothing else really. Apart from to report, you know, a lot of the issues helping constituents with at the moment are around housing. So just a reminder of what we all know, you know, the importance of making sure people do have houses that they need, and of course, as we all know, the infrastructure to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Osborne? Thank you, Councillor Osborne. Councillor Radcliffe.
I've given her apologies.
Oh, no, she's here.
Oh no, sorry.
She's actually turned up.
Hello.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, councillors. Yes, sorry, I've been away, I've just returned from holiday, so I haven't sent a report in. The main item I want to report on is the Lidl development, which is in my ward of East Downham. They are proceeding with the design, and they will be going ahead with the build here. They've been working on changing their design to fit some of the conditions that were agreed or imposed by the planning committee at the time the planning permission was given, and the most recent of those was condition 27 was in response to this this council, which requested Carstone as part of the design. So this month they submitted a revised design which has Carstone across the front of the store. All the wall area which isn't window is intended to be Carstone, and part of the side wall going down to the loading bay, which is where the drivers will see it as they come in. So they are proceeding with that. They're waiting for confirmation now from the Borough Council that the design they've submitted meets that condition. And they've been dealing with other conditions as well, and adapting their designs accordingly. So it is going ahead, but obviously not on the timescale that we hoped. But I'll keep pushing for updates on that and let you know if we do get a timescale at some point. So that's my main item of news.
I think there's a question. Can you push it?
No, I was given that impression by my contact at Lidl that they were going to put in a fresh application, but actually what they've done is they're actually submitting updates to their design, and it's to meet the conditions. So yeah, that was my misunderstanding, I think.
Any other questions for Councillor Radcliffe? Thank you very much, Councillor Radcliffe.
Thank you.
Councillor Tyler, I don't believe he's here. Police, I don't think police.
No.
Public participation. Any members of the public wish to speak? No. Downham Amateur Dramatic Society.
They decided not to send in
And
a report.
they're not coming.
No.
Any correspondence?
No.
No correspondence. Item 5, to receive applications for a co-option as an East Ward Town Councillor.
So we had one application made, and that's from a Mrs. Julie Susan Pyatt.
How do you want to do this?
Ask for a proposer. It's only going to be Councillor Pyatt that can't vote.
Can I have a proposer for this?
Councillor Sharman?
Councillor Sharman. Seconder.
Councillor Brewer?
Councillor Brewer. All those in favour?
Yep.
Those against? Carried.
Yeah, carried.
That's carried. Can we welcome Councillor Pyatt to the...
Table.
Thank you.
I just need to get this signed.
So we declare Councillor Pyatt is our new councillor for East Ward. As I say, welcome Councillor Pyatt. Item 6, to approve minutes of full council meeting held on the 17th of September 2023. A proposer for that?
Councillor Damon?
Councillor Damon.
Also.
Oh, sorry, apologise for that. 17th of October 23.
Thank you,
Lovely.
Councillor Damon.
Thanks for that.
Councillor Lane,
Councillor Lane.
seconding.
All those in favour? Unanimous.
Yep, yep. All thank you.
Item 7, to accept recommendations within the minutes from the following committees. Downham and Bloom Committee.
Can I ask Council to accept Downham in Bloom Committee minutes of the 16th of October 2023 and our new terms of governance, or reference rather.
I've got a seconder for that.
Councillor Westropp?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
Community Development Committee.
I'd like to propose that full council accept the minutes for the Community Development Committee of the 3rd of October 2023.
A seconder for that.
Councillor Levers?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
Human Resources Committee.
I'd like to ask full council to accept the minutes of the Human Resources Committee of the 17th of October 2023, please.
Seconder.
Councillor Buxton? Oh, no.
All those,
Councillor Damon, sorry.
all those in favour?
And Councillor Wells?
Abstain.
Thank you.
Planning Committee.
I will recommend to the full council the minutes of the planning committee of the 10th of October 2023, please.
Seconder for that, please.
Councillor Wells?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
Governance Committee.
I propose that the minutes of the 3rd of October for the Governance Committee are accepted by full council.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Brewer?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
Good. Item 8, to adopt the policy recommendations from the Governance Committee. 8.1, Scheme of Delegation.
Thank you. I propose that the scheme of delegation is,
Adopted.
sorry, I forgot my words, adopted by full council.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Brewer?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
8.2.
8.2, this is a new policy. Again, I propose that the procurement policy is adopted by full council.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Brewer?
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Item 8.3, again, another new policy. I propose that the contingency plan is adopted by full council.
I'd like to just make a comment. I think I've got the right one. Is that the business continuity
Yep.
plan? There is...
Just press it again.
Sorry. There is a contacts list at the end, page 8 of 8, and the Safer Neighbourhood Action police numbers. I'd like to know how you're going to change that when people leave, because PC Andy Wise is about to retire. How will you change it?
I mean, usually the police contact us directly and then give us new contacts, so we'll update it. It'll be a live document.
It'll be a live document. That's what I need to know. Thank you very much.
8.4, cyber attack policy.
Sorry, we've not finished
No,
that.
Beg your
Sorry.
pardon. Sorry, Amos.
So, Councillor Inkelvire has proposed it. I need a seconder, please.
Seconder.
Councillor Brewer, thank you.
All those in favour?
All. Oh, Councillor Potts? Sorry, yeah. All, thank you.
Okay, 8.4, cyber attack policy. The council IT service provider has given the thumbs up to this policy. Therefore, I propose that this is adopted by full council.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Brewer?
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Finally, the overspend referral policy, which came about because we were looking at the reserves at governance. Just a bit of background, there is no legal requirement to set an agreed reserves amount. However, now good practice indicates that a council of our size should, whatever the amount of a year's precept, that a further 50% is recommended within the reserves. By the end of this financial year, the reserves are currently forecasting a reduction from 50 to 37%. The clerk has confirmed this calculation, and this takes into account various outstanding projects currently being worked on and already included within earmarked reserves, as well as money taken out for unbudgeted items. However, the forecast may even be lower than the 37% if unbudgeted spending continues at a similar rate and momentum. Governance has brought this procedure to full council for discussion and recommends adoption. However, it is for the whole council to decide if anyone has any comments they would like to make.
Anyone any comments on that?
Got a seconder?
Happy to propose that policy then is adopted.
Seconder for that.
Yeah, Councillor Brewer.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Item 9, to agree payment of bills. I've got a proposal for that.
Councillor Lane.
Seconder.
Councillor Wistrom.
All those in favour?
Councillor Inkelvire.
Sorry.
Yep. So it's just Councillor Jordan not voting. Thank you.
Item 10, to receive finance update.
So you've had the statements come through and the bank reconciliation up to the 31st of October. I apologise, I haven't sent the list of receipts, that's my fault. I thought I'd sent it and I realised earlier that I hadn't, so I apologise there and I'll send it out tomorrow. The VAT is up to date, so the next period is the 1st of the 10th to the 31st of the 12th, 2023. That submission will be due on the 7th of February 2024, so we're well in there. Councillor Lane or Councillor Pyatt, you may wish to speak on the governance sample.
We carried it out and it was fine.
And then regarding 10.6 for the bank signatories, previous councillor Anne Marseille has resigned from the council, as you know, so there's now a vacancy for the bank mandate, so we're looking for somebody to step in that's obviously not already on the mandate.
Anyone like to volunteer?
Can I ask who is already on the who is listed?
You're
other
listed.
than me, yeah.
Councillor Damond, Councillor Pyatt, Councillor Doyle, Councillor Sharman. Yeah, that's it. Councillor Lane? Anybody, are you willing to propose yourself, yeah? A seconder?
Seconder.
Councillor Damond?
All those in favour?
Oh, thank you.
Good.
Councillor Pyatt, you did vote, didn't you? Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Sorry?
I wasn't sure if I saw Councillor Pyatt's hand. I was just checking.
Sorry. Do we have to vote on all of them?
Unless anybody's got any comments, then I'll just write that everybody's accepted the other items on there with the bank reg and the statements, etc. Anybody want to make a comment?
Anyone want to make a comment?
No? Thank you.
Item 11, to discuss continuance of microphone at full council until 31st of March 2024 and agree actions.
So this is the quote of these microphones that are here. I haven't received any negative feedback, so I'm assuming that everything has been positive. I certainly heard a lot of positive comments from those that attend from the public that can now hear. The quote is £300 plus VAT until the 31st of March, so I'm looking for a proposer. Councillor Lane? Oh, sorry.
Comment?
As a person who has to wear 2 hearing aids in this hall, I do find it very beneficial.
Are you happy to propose that, Councillor Lane? Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Steve Moyes. Thank
All
you.
those in favour?
That's all, thank you.
Good. Item 12, planning application.
Councillor Damon's going to lead this.
Councillor Damon.
Good evening. Item 12.1, reference 23.01835, proposal for outstanding already at location Meads, 44 London Road, Downham Market, Norfolk. I don't have a problem with this. The original proposal was for 4 properties, not 3. I'm assuming this is a reduction in the original, and that's okay, I approve that. But anybody else wishes to do that? One.
Any comments?
Can I have a seconder for that, please?
Councillor Wells?
All those in favour? That we okay, that one.
Councillor Westropp? Abstain. And Councillor Pyatt?
I'll abstain.
Abstain. Thank you. So everybody else is in favour, yeah? Thank you.
Okay, 12.2, reference 23.01979, listed building, case officer. This is for number 4. Market Square, building consent for erecting shelves, and most of it is internal work inside the actual property. There is nothing on this one as to change the external view of the property.
So we have received this as a consultee and as a neighbour to the property. So whatever you vote here will be our response from both sides.
Okay, and I propose that we accept it.
Second of that.
Councillor Lewis?
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Thank you. And the next one, 12.3, reference 23.00407F, full council. Proposal to drop curve for vehicle access, 7 Bexwell Road, Downham Market, Norfolk, PE 389L. I propose that should it be approved by Norfolk County Council that this drop curve is a good idea as far as highways are concerned, that it's okay and we approve it. That's my proposal.
You propose that. Seconder?
Seconder,
Councillor
please.
Leach?
All those in favour of this proposal that rely on Norfolk County Council highways. Thank you.
Councillor Westropp? Thank you.
And that finishes
Councillor
the
Jordan,
applications for planning.
Thank you.
Good. Item 13, to consider a grant application from Downham Stowe Cricket Club.
So, councillors, you had a budget this year of £5,000. You currently have £3,750 available to spend. As you'll have seen, their grant application is anywhere up to over £70,000. They're just asking for any money to support their move. And you'll have seen the detail of the application, and for the public it was also popped on the website too.
Can I ask, is it appropriate for us to provide a grant for a sports outside of Downham Market? Because they intend to put it in Stowe Hall, not on the memorial field.
Can I ask the Mayor who plays on the field at the moment then, please?
The cricket,
Yeah,
yeah, one of the teams of Downham Town.
okay.
The rest are all playing at Stowe Bridge, at Stowe Bardoff, sorry.
Stowe Bardoff, yeah.
The old Stowe Hall.
Yeah.
They play on that ground. So I can't see why we should give a grant outside of the area. If it was for in the memorial field, I would agree we would have to give it a grant.
Anybody else want to comment on it? Have we got a vote first?
Yeah, I would say you're voting to decline it if Councillor Pyatt's happy to propose that.
Can I propose that we
I'll second
decline
it.
this?
We've
Councillor
got a
Damon
proposal
seconding.
that we decline the application
And a seconder.
and a seconder. All those in favour?
Councillor Westrop? Councillor Perkin? Abstain, thank you.
Any against? Good. Item 14, to discuss the civility and respect pledge as recommended by Norfolk Association of Local Councils.
So the background to this is all of the local associations, but obviously ours is specifically Norfolk, have asked for support from all councils regarding a civility and respect pledge. They're lobbying central government regarding the current codes of conduct. As we know, regardless of what action is taken, bar fraud and a couple of minor other things, well, not minor, a couple of other points, a councillor can remain on a council regardless of their conduct towards their colleagues or staff. So they're lobbying government regarding having the ability to take councillors off of councils if they meet certain criteria. But the background to this is so that all councillors are signing up to respect their colleagues, the staff, public. It's another level really to your code of conduct, and you've received the supporting paperwork on it.
Can I have a proposal for this? Seconder?
Can I ask a question? Sorry.
Of course, yes.
I know it's on the paper. Completely behind it. It mentions about training. Now, would that be at a cost because it would be unbudgeted, or does that come as part of it and it's free, or just what?
No, it'd be training that we would have to organise,
Right.
but we organise training throughout the period anyway, and this would go into the budget for 2024.
Okay, so it wouldn't be any extra
2025.
cost.
It would be an additional cost.
Right.
Well, we've got a training budget though.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's all I want to know.
Fine. So we've got a proposal. Anybody else want to speak?
Thank you.
So we've got a proposer and a seconder.
Councillor
All
Mann.
those in favour?
Lovely. Oh, no, sorry, Councillor Evers. Against. Thank you.
Item 15, to report from the Safer Neighbourhood Action Panel. Councillor Levers. All right.
At the meeting, Councillor Barry Wiles thanked the police for their diligent work at the memorial field, catching many culprits. He had brought this up at the last meeting and had asked the police to investigate the antisocial behaviour. We asked people for any problems they wanted to be brought up at this meeting, and antisocial behaviour in the town was the main concern. We are pleased to tell you that for the next 3 months, our local police have made this the top priority for our area. They always list 3 important aims given to them at the meeting. The second one is off-roading, which has happened on Close recently, and the memorial field. The third item our local police will be watching for is speeding, something which is relevant to all areas covered. This is concerning users of Bexwell Road, especially at the moment. Mention was made of the debris being left on the road at the Broomhill development. something that could get worse in winter. We were told that the local beat officer would talk to the site manager. As a member of the Community Events Committee, I asked the question regarding no policing of the closed routes for ceremonial events, etc. Remembrance Parade and the Battle of Britain service were affected. They are not allowed to man the roads. However, there will always be a police presence. I asked when this legislation came into force, but no date was given. Apparently, it has always been there and only this year was enforced. At the moment, there are 1,828 officers in Norfolk. There will only be 300 officers on duty at one time. Only 100 of those will actually be on the beat, a staggering statistic. Anyone who has tried to report a crime will know the struggle to phone, etc., through the current procedures. We were informed by the Commissioner of Police, Giles Orpen-Smelly, that they are looking at having an AI solution, as 80% of the calls are not relevant to the police. Calls would be immediately redirected to appropriate places, leaving those that actually needed police presence to be dealt with by the call handlers. The next meeting is in January 2024. Councillor Wiles and myself will always communicate any problems that councillors, residents and business owners would like us to bring to the attention of the police. Our email addresses are on the DMTC website. Thank you. And I don't know if Councillor Wiles would like to add anything?
Yeah, just this. Sadly, I had to report an assault on the fields down the bottom. I think it is, what is it, Frank? Short Drove? Short Drove. Short Drove on Saturday, where an elderly gentleman was pushed into the bushes and attacked by two youths, one on a dirt bike, one on a scooter. So I've reported that, and that's actioned now by the police. Thank you.
And for any member of the public wish to see that report, it has been loaded onto the website today.
Any other comments on that report? Thank you, Councillor Evers and Councillor Wong. Item 16, to discuss the management of the cemetery by Downham Market and Downham West Joint Burial Board.
This item was requested by Councillor Westrop, so she may wish to lead it.
Thank you, yes, Mr Mayor. The situation in respect to the burial board, colleagues will know that this has been an issue of concern that I've had for a number of years. And basically, when the clerk sent round email correspondence, it reignited the concerns that I've had about the performance of the burial board and the precept that we pay to the burial board every year. And it made me sort of revisit what I remember about the burial board and how it came into existence. Now, for colleagues who may not know the history of this, the Joint Burial Board came into existence some 40 years ago, when Downham was a very different town and the town council was a very different council. You can't even find what the original arrangement was about who was responsible for what, except to say that actually we annually pay them a precept to organise the sort of burials in this town and to maintain cemetery property. Now, the interesting thing about the precept, and bearing in mind that we raised the precept for the burial board, is that in 2020-2021, the precept request to this council was £13,284.10. Tonight we will be asked to sort of approve a precept that is in excess of £24,000. Now, you have to think that actually the precept that we pay the burial board has nearly doubled in the space of 4 years. And my question was basically, what are we paying for? So I asked the clerk to ask the burial board a series of questions in respect of actually what it pays for and how it spends its money. And to say that the answers coming back were evasive and not actually answering the questions was pretty sort of an understatement. What we also know with this is that we have to pay the 24,000, but as the clerk has pointed out, next year's budget we're likely to have to make an allowance of nearly 30,000 going forward to actually pay the board. What are we paying for? Well, when you actually sort of walk up there, basically, what you find is a wreck of a cemetery house, trees that haven't been sort of cut back because of cost purposes and are presenting dangers, undergrowth, brambles, goodness knows what else, basically. And when the clerk has asked questions, really, at the end of the day, as I say, the burial board has not come back with answers. I accept totally, as I said earlier, that we're going to have to pay the precept tonight, and I would actually sort of propose that if the clerk thinks that's appropriate. But I would also propose that this council is actually getting to the point where it has to say enough is enough, because a third of the money that we are raising is actually going out of our control to a body that is not demonstrating transparency, is not telling us how it's spending its money, and is declining to answer questions that are legitimately put to it by the clerk. Once upon a time, this council actually used to have the burial board as an outside body to which we made appointments of active councillors. That has pretty much gone by the board. And whilst I accept there are active current councillors on the burial board, there is no feedback from them. And indeed, they may be Downham West councillors for all I know, basically. But that's one of the points. We don't know who the councillors are and which council they represent. So my proposal tonight is that the clerk write to the burial board on our behalf and actually starts to ask questions that as a council I think we deserve answers to, given the fact that nearly a third of our precept is going out to them. And those questions would include how the precept is actually arrived at, what they actually spend it on, what they're actually doing to reduce their costs, and that it gives the clerk a full explanation in respect to the issues she has raised with them, particularly in respect of Cemetery House, where, by the way, they appear to be paying full council tax for the last 2/3 years on a building that is effectively derelict. You know, in effect, where is taxpayers' money going to? We would be answerable to our electorate, basically, for any money we spend. I cannot answer those questions about money that the burial board spends and we send to them. And I've got to the stage now where I think, OK, 3 or 4 years ago, I would accept that that's probably an arrangement because we have to pay it. But doubling the precept, basically, is not a sort of increase in costs. It's not about a cost of living proposal. It is about an open-ended cheque that we are being expected to pay, which is expanding rapidly. And that is at a time when we are digging into our reserves. Our reserves are sinking quite considerably. And when we went through the budget setting exercises that we did, we were looking at standstill budgets, really, at the end of the day, which actually restricts the work of this council. Yet we're handing over thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds to a body without actually any accountability or transparency. And I think it's almost at the point in time when we should be saying enough's enough and we want our questions answered.
There was 2 proposals in that, I believe.
Can I just have a say?
Oh, sorry. Right.
I think we should really seriously think about why are we paying for a derelict house when actually we're paying the burial board to look after the burial areas, not houses. I think it's wrong that we are being committed to repairing a house which has been left derelict by the neglect of the bodies who've been working there. I think they've had it too easy. I think it's time we did ask the questions, and I will support the proposal to say that we ask all the questions we can to get the answers we need.
John, come here. I did suggest to the clerk, why can't we buy it? Why can't we look after the cemeteries ourselves? I forget what the answer was.
They're an authority in themselves. They're a precept raising authority. So it'd be like someone coming in and saying they want to take over Downham Market Town Council. We'd have to have their agreement.
Yeah.
I think that's a very useful suggestion, Councillor Levers. In previous years, we have previous clerks have looked at the whole issue of bringing the matter of the burial board in-house, burials in-house. At this current point in time, I think given the sort of workload of our staff, that is a problematic issue. But I do think really at the end of the day, an arrangement that was achieved 40 odd years ago is pretty much sort of probably had, you know, its history's gone really at the end of the day. And as I say, we are the only parish in Norfolk where this arrangement actually happens. And I think in the long term, basically, it is probably more economically advantageous to this council to bring the matter back. But I would say not at this time, given the sort of work pressures that the council's under. But I think that is something that we should bear in mind. But in the interim, I think we should be more vigorous in pursuing the burial board and holding them to account for the money that we are actually raising on their behalf.
You've got to remember, it's not only us parish. There's about 3 parishes, I think.
That's right. We pay 98% of the board. I think Downham West approximately pays £580 odd, about 1.5%, which reflects the population of Downham West. I have no problem with that in the sort of scheme of things. But again, they don't tell, well, their councillors sit on the board, so they may be better informed than us, basically.
So, Councillor Brewer.
Hi, as a newbie to the council, the burial board is all new to me, so I did try to do a little bit of research myself, and as Councillor Westrop has said, there's nothing to see. And as far as I'm aware, they're a precept raising authority, so the meetings and the minutes should be there for the public to see. Now, as I understand it, in May, we elected 4 councillor representatives onto the burial board. They last met, which I gleaned from the Downham West Parish Council minutes, they last met in April and they meet every 6 months. So have any of the 4 board members met since then? And whether they've got anything to report back to us. And my other big concern is the house, the cemetery lodge. Firstly, who owns it?
Burial board.
The burial board. Is there? Can we see a title deed to confirm that they are in ownership of the property? So I'd ask that as well. And I don't think we should be in the business as a precept raising authority of renting out houses to residents. You know, my preferred option would be to sell that property. That's not what the council should be in the business of doing. And I think perhaps at every full council meeting, what I would suggest is that we have an agenda item for reports from outside bodies. That doesn't just include the burial board. There's also the 100-acre charity, which we have representatives on. So just reports from outside bodies, if possible, please. But if the members of the board, or the representatives on the board, are able to give us any update tonight, that I would be grateful.
Frank wanted to put his hand up.
Councillor Damon.
Yes, you're right. As regarding the 100-acre charity, the 100-acre charity is a charity in its own right. It has members who do things for the town, and the charity this year is donating £3,000 to the organisation that hands out funds to wanting people in Downham Market. It's paid out the £3,000 to a local business who collects vouchers and hands vouchers down to the Christian Society that is in the ex-Reed's warehouse, and they distribute it under the banner of help to people needing food and that sort of thing. The burial board is, as you say, a precept authority in its own right. And as for regarding the property and the house, for the last 10 years, that property reduced your precept by approximately £8,000 a year. That's why the burial board hung on to it. That is for the proposal in the future to try and reduce the precept by renting out that property to reduce your precept as a town. If that's unsatisfactory to you, I'm sorry.
Just to come back on that, the minutes from the Downham West Parish Council show that you're needing to spend about £50,000 on the house to make it habitable again. So that's a long time to recoup the money.
Just a minute.
Yeah, sorry, so I'm just saying that's just to save us £8,000 a year. We've got to spend £50 now, and I do not think that we should be in the habit of renting houses to residents.
Well, I'm sorry, but the burial board runs its business as it needs to do the job which it does, which is supply burial plots within the town. And that is what it's paid to do, to also look after the existing cemeteries that are hold known people that were killed in the First and the Second World War as well, their graves. And that's what it does to the best of its ability. And I'm afraid if you want more answers, you must have to ask the burial board management group.
Well, we've got a proposal for that.
2 points. Can I ask Councillor Damond whether he sits on the burial board as a representative of Downham West, or whether or not he sits on the burial board as a representative of Downham Market Town Council, because that is not clear. 2 other members who sit on the burial board are not active councillors, though once upon a time, of course, they gave good and active service to this council. Both of them did, basically. I think my second point there, really, at the end of the day, is that whilst the rental that actually was achieved from Cemetery House reduced the precept, and that in itself is actually a sort of good thing, the burial board management team actually knew that house was in difficulties as early as 2020, and that could explain the accelerating rate, yes, of the precept. But having said all of that, really, at the end of the day, there still remains questions to be asked about how that was maintained, why it was actually sort of left in a derelict condition, why they don't seem to have followed through on issues about sort of public loan board sort of applications. There are a multitude of questions which have been asked but not answered, and it is a case of satisfying this council that actually money is being spent appropriately, and that actually the precept actually gives good value for money. When the burial board itself admits that actually burial board income through provision of plots is declining rapidly, basically. So how are you managing your costs? It's, you know, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. I think coming back to the proposition, my first proposal was, Mr Mayor, that we are committed to paying the precept this year, and I would propose that that precept goes through. But my second proposal was that this council instruct the clerk to actually now write to the burial board management group, basically answering the questions that I've outlined about how the precept is calculated, how it is spent, what steps it has taken to reduce its costs and keep them under control, basically, and that it gives the clerk a full explanation in respect to the issues she has raised in respect of both Cemetery House and actually the maintenance of the old cemeteries and the walkways, which appear to be in a very poor condition.
Councillor Westrop, if you're happy, I'm not going to do the first proposal because you actually approved the precept within the bills for payment, so that's done.
Right, thank you. I forgot that one. I forgot that one. So that just leaves the second proposal.
I'll take your proposal now.
I believe Councillor Pyatt wanted a second.
Second that.
Yeah.
All those in favour of that?
Okay, those against?
Good.
Those abstaining? So it's just one against, lovely, thank you.
Okay. Item 17, then, to receive an update on the 3G pitch discussions. Councillor Lewis.
Yeah, do I need my cricket hat, my cricket bat, VAR, or what tonight? Right. We've had a few discussions. Obviously, we're going to meet with a football club, which you see. But all we're really asking for is your permission to see how much grant funding we can get for this project. Hopefully we can get all of it, or at least 99% of it. I'd like to do it without incurring any costs on the council, if possible. I think if you all see the email of the Facebook screenshot from Aylsham FC, they managed to get 800,000 out of the Football Foundation. They managed to get 250,000 out of some Norwich council. And I think overall they had to try and find 24,000 to do their scheme. So that's what I'm asking for. Yes, with regards to a sink fund for recarpeting in the pitch in 10 years' time, my thoughts on that were any money made from the pitch would go straight into a pot for that to one side. With regards to the last time we were here, there was a letter written to the school. We haven't heard anything from them as yet, which I find really very rude, because that's been a month now. Perhaps the headmaster really should give himself detention for not replying. Perhaps that's what he would do if the children were late in handing their homework in. But the other thing is, with us putting this pitch where we want to, and that the money would come into Downham Market. If it went to the school, my belief is that all the money from that they rent that out for would then go to Kings Lynn for a live leisure. So that's what I'm hoping for. I have heard, because I speak to a lot of people when I go around on my footballing trips, and that one pitch was built for a school in Norfolk that should have actually been for a community. No, because it was built in the school won't let anybody else use it by themselves, which I don't want, and I don't want that to happen in Downham. That's why I would like this pitch put up at the JCC. Moving on, money-wise, this pitch could quite easily take between £2,000 and £3,000 a week if it's managed properly, which again equates to £150,000 a year, and over 10 years, 1.5 million. So really what I'm asking you for is permission for us to continue the work we're doing and go and get as much grant funding as we possibly can. And my throat's gone dry now.
Councillor Downham.
Can I ask you what the maintenance cost would be for this pitch for 10 years?
For the carpet, I think we're probably looking anywhere up to probably £150,000. It'll break even. Well, that's £150,000 a year, hopefully. And whatever, it should more than break even, Frank. Or Councillor Damon, sorry to be rude. Sorry. The maintenance is, that would be over 10 years, wouldn't it? That would be 10 years for 150,000, so.
Personally, I think it's not only the money, it's the assets from the community. It'd be a great asset for the town, personally. So you want a proposal for that?
I would like to propose that the council give us permission to go and find the grant money out there and see how far we can get and how much money we can actually get for this project, please. And because I think it'd be a great asset for the community.
Absolutely.
I don't think we get enough this way, and it's something that I feel we really need.
Have we got a concise proposal?
Yeah.
Councillor Downham?
Sorry, I'm just going to ask, is there any financial backing need to carry this out, to go for these grants? Is there a need there for financial backing to actually...
It depends, Councillor Damon, on whether you want to look at getting a consultant in to do this work. I mean, if you're asking the office to do it, it won't happen this year.
That is the question I'm asking in actual fact, is it going to cost us money to go and get to grants to do what we want to do?
I mean, I have had an invitation from Liz Truss's office to meet with the council on the 8th of December, the whole of council. And she's happy to speak about levelling up and the 3G pitch. I don't know where those discussions will go, obviously.
I think the proposal was that you would look into the possibility of grants.
Yes.
Was that the proposal?
Yes. Yeah.
So
But
that's
without a budget.
without a
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah.
Can
at
I-
the moment.
Good. So that's the proposal.
Mr Mayor, can I just make a comment, please? I am. Consultation, I've looked it up, is between 100 to £300 per hour. And they quote about 10,000 to 15,000. That would be without applying for grants. A consultation would have to come out of the council's budget.
Yeah, if you used a
If
consultant.
you went in that route, but we've got a proposal that they would look into the possibility of grants without funding. Hang on, go on.
I'm not saying anything against the proposal or anything, or voting or whatever, but just for information for you, there's a guy named Paul Billington just been employed by Alive West Norfolk. He's a high flyer, and I can imagine him doing things that might not be quite conducive to what Justin wants, but we'll have to see. He's a real high flyer. He's worked and got Sheffield as a culture city. He's also arranged for the World Cup to come to this country in 2026, and he's been working on a multi-billion road system. So what that will make difference, I don't know, but that's just for your information.
Thank you. So we've got a go on.
That's on, mate. That's on. That's on. Testing. Just one little question. What is the cost of the replacement, or after the 10-year of the surface?
Said
150,000.
Well, let's say 100 and.
I'm going to say I've had a quote of 120,000.
Yeah,
so
let's say in 10 years' time it may have gone up by that amount.
Yeah.
So
that's not
that's
a
right.
lot.
But it may last, depending on how much wear it has and how well it's kept. It may go 15 years. So.
But in comparison to what you're saying, the revenue it could bring in, it's not a lot compared to the revenue it could bring in.
The revenue it could bring in. The other thing is that Alive Leisure have just put an application in for another pitch at Linsport. So with that one going in, I don't think they'll be putting another one in at Downham in the near future.
The proposal is that you look into the possibility of grants without a budget. So we're not talking about money now at all.
No.
I have to say, I think this is a brilliant idea for the kids of this town.
I agree.
And I agree with you, Mr Mayor, and also that with hopefully a bit of help from Liz, we could find a lot of funding to go towards this and be better for the kids in this town.
Exactly. Until we look into it, we don't know. Well, we've got a proposal. Is there a seconder?
I've got Councillor Damon down as seconder. Is that all right? Yeah.
Councillor Damon seconded. All those in favour that we look into this thing?
Councillor Inquire? And Councillor Levers? Thank you. That's everybody, just 2 abstentions, yeah?
Good.
Oh, sorry. You're against. Thank you.
Okay. Right, item 18, to receive an update from the car park working party. Councillor Pyatt.
Right, yeah. Thanks, councillors. You gave me and my committee quite a hard job to discuss and sort out. First of all, we needed a starting point. The council wanted to manage the car parks. Our conclusion was the car park orders need to be in place to move forward. The council therefore must decide what they want the car park orders to include. There is a cost involved, and our recommendation is that this is the way forward. During the conversations, we've looked at all the car parks, and we've come up partly with the report from the clerk, because she's been in contact with Martin Chisholm for us. As of yet, we haven't got any financial commitments from him, because we are still asking and answering questions from him. The idea is to try and keep it free. Paradise Road car park upper, 3 hours maximum parking up to 6 p.m. Lower Paradise Road car park, residence permits. From the barrier to the road, all disabled spaces in order to prevent commercial vehicle misuse. Priory Road, 3 hours maximum, again till 6 o'clock. Town Hall, 3 hours parking. After 6 o'clock, no restrictions. Hollies 1 and 2, both 3 hours with 6 o'clock restriction. Cost and enforcement. To do this, we need to put in place 5 machines over all the car parks. We need to do a fine enforcement, which today I received that it could be 70 or £50, reduced by 15 on 14 days. Car park enforcement officer to work 3 days a week for 3 months, and then we review. This will have to be guided by the Borough Council's decision within our remit. To review commercial vehicles use on all car parks. That is my report from that meeting. I now hand it back to you, the full council.
Any comments on it?
Can I just say I'm a little bit disappointed that there's no concessions for people who come into the town who work. If you're going to work in the town 5 days a week, this is basically going to take probably £75 a month out of your wage packet, and I just find that morally wrong. In a time where we're going through a cost of living crisis, everything's going up, and now we're going to impose a £75 fine for working in Downham Market. I don't understand how we're going wrong. Sorry.
Do you want me to answer that? The thing is, we've got to look after the money for the residents. If you're coming from the outside, you do not pay anything towards the precept. So therefore, we should not allow that to happen. We should just continue to think of what is right for the residents of Downham Market, which is what we deal with.
I still don't see how we can fine people £75 for working in the town. I mean, if you're going to pay, I don't know what's going to be, £3.50 a day, it's going to knock people into the poverty.
Yeah, but this is a discussion later on, probably, because the figures are only just been presented to us tonight.
Well, I'm going basically on what's being charged in Iceland at the moment. And I'd imagine we'll be similar, or you want to be similar.
There's a lot more discussions needed.
Yeah, also, I do think perhaps the working party needs to be, because this is such a emotive subject, as we found out.
Yes.
And such an important, if we get this wrong, we could end up killing the town. And I think perhaps all the councillors should be in the working party. I know it sounds strange to have a working party with all the councillors, but I think it needs to be discussed a lot more. Sorry.
Yeah, Councillor Lane.
Yeah, I think we need to bear in mind Lidl's will be coming to the town, so people will shop at Lidl's instead of coming into the town.
Any other comments?
So are we saying that you get 3 hours free parking and then you have to move your vehicle away?
Yeah.
So for a worker, they've got to go and move their car, and they can't move it from the old fire station to the Hollies for 3 hours, and from there, I don't think it would work. If you were to charge them £1 from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, it may be a bit easier. So they paid £1 to park all day long. That's just a suggestion. And then £1.50 from 6 o'clock at night until 8 o'clock the following morning. and that where you would catch your train users that are parking and using them facilities and jumping on that train, going down to London, earning here 100, probably £200,000 a year, not contributing to this town. And they're the ones that you would hit, not the workers in town. And that because I'm quite sure £1 a day might not be too bad for them. And it gives them a chance to park there.
Councillor Lowe.
The reason why it cuts off at 6 is for people who hire the town hall, so they're not actually paying twice to hire the hall and then pay for parking as well.
Councillor Downham.
Right. I've been in this town, lived in this town 51 years and paid domestic rates. I had a business in this town for 21 years and paid business rates. I think by the length of time that I've been paying my rates, we must nearly own the town hall car parks. They must be at the end of their mortgage lease, if that was the right means of actually buying them. Why should I pay twice?
The only thing I would say is the car parks need refurbishing. I think you'll find they need redoing at times.
Can I suggest that we leave it on the table for now, because it might all involve of what the Borough Council want to charge us for everything they do. This may stop some of the issues.
I understand they have to be controlled. Sorry.
Yeah. If the borough takes it on, it'll be for one reason.
Money.
Martin Chisholm, he's a go-getter for money for the borough council. If he wants it, they're going to make money from it, not us. And he's like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. He's a decent bloke to talk to. Met him when he came, but you could see in his eyes when we spoke to him, if he's not making money for borough, I'm not interested.
I mean, I disagree with that, because actually he's working on the information we give him.
Yes.
It's whatever you give him is exactly the information that he's basing it on, and any profit that is made after the costs are done come back to the council, if that is the way the council went. And I think council know my feelings. I never felt a working party was correct for this. I felt it should be discussed and debated in full council in a public arena on live streaming, so that you're all held to account for what's decided, rather than a small few.
I was at that meeting with Councillor Pyatt, and we discussed what was best in the way of hours and car parks and everything. The mention of money was never made. We never arrived at anything on money at all. All we was trying to do was to make sure the hours worked right for people. But the borough now are going to tell us how much it's going to cost to have this guy walking around 3 days a week and all of that. It could be that it's not going to work. But the point is, unless you talk about it and unless you try to analyse it, you get nowhere. I've been on this council 18 years and I've been on this car park committee for about 16 years. So it's not going anywhere at all in a hurry. But we never got any figure at all from borough for that meeting, did we? Right. All we did was we discussed what would be good, what would work and everything else. So until we do know a figure from borough for those to work, we don't know whether it'll work or not. We don't know whether we can afford it. You've got to remember that if borough wanted to earn for those 3 blokes 75,000 or whatever a year, and that only generated in fines 60,000, we'd have 15,000 to fine. We'd have to bump it up. So we need to look at what they're going to offer in the way of thimmy to start with. Then after that you can have a decide whether you want car parking or not. It's as simple as that, but you've got to discuss it properly.
I mean, I would say the Borough Council are not working against us. We're asking them to give us information. I mean, Martin has raised very valid points. He said, how are we going to provide electric to the machines? Now, that wasn't considered at the meeting, so that's something. If you plan to do free resident permits, obviously you're saying it's on a first come, first serve, but there's still an administration charge. How is that going to be financed? That wasn't discussed at the meeting. I mean, as I say, you know, I just think we need to remember that Borough are not our enemy. They are working with us, and we shouldn't isolate ourselves from them. And we don't have to go with anything that they say, but they are giving us very valuable information here that hasn't been considered.
Absolutely, I think we should move forward on it. Go on.
I fully appreciate that car parks have to be monitored because people do abuse them. There just needs to be someone there or something there to protect the workers. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. I mean, you only got to look round. There's people who park totally in the car park all day, all night, all year. And it's not fair. That's the way I look at it.
Can I just ask, and I might sound a bit thick here, why do we pay business rates on them?
Oh,
All the car parks.
yeah,
But why do we pay business rates on them? That's the thing. Why do we hand that money? What do we actually hand that money over for? To borrow.
well, it's because the rates on this business.
But we're not making any money out of
I
it,
know
so it's not a
that.
business, is it?
Well,
So why are we paying it? Is there any way that we could challenge that or not challenge that?
Just to answer that question, the valuer has been out 2 times in the time that I've been employed for the council, just over 5 years. And it would be a lot more if the council do choose to charge. It is a land tax in all intents and purposes.
Councillor Downham.
It's all right, that was the question I was going to say.
Sorry.
Councillor Ray.
Can we avoid the tax on the car parks if we put them into charity?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know the legal answer to that, but that would obviously require solicitors,
Yeah,
trusteeships,
you'd have to look into it.
paying someone else to manage the secretarial side of
It's
it.
worth a try, though, isn't it?
All as I see it, all we're doing at the moment is to looking into things, just to make sure what's going on. And I would propose that we carry on with looking into it and seeing. Otherwise, we've been kicking this around for 20 years, and we've never got anywhere. And during that time, we've spent at least, £200,000 for resurfacing the car parks over them period. So you can't just leave them and let them fall into disrepair. We've got to do something. I mean, I like the fact that the car parks are free for our residents, personally, but we haven't got any orders, and it's a, you know, people can do what they like. It's not right. Yeah.
Do the residents not pay for the car parks through their precept every
they
year?
will do.
Yes, they do.
So the repairs have been done through the precept of what the residents have paid in all the years?
Absolutely.
Right, thank you.
I mean, my suggestion to council is that we wait until we get some more answers from the Borough Council, and then it comes back, and then you decide at the next meeting whether you close down the working party and it stays within full council, or whether you give a remit to the working party with some more clear indications. Because I sat in that meeting, and although I wasn't there to minute take or anything, it's very confused as to, you know, is it 8 till 6? Is it 9 till 5? Is there 2 hours release? There's very little come from full council as to what they're getting quotes on. So I think it would be interesting to find out what the answers to the questions we've got, and then bring it back to full council next month to decide where we go with it.
And I'll propose that. I've got a second that we carry on.
Thank you,
All
Councillor
those in
Lewis.
favour? Any
Councillor-
against?
Councillor Lane? Abstain.
Right, well, that's carried, so carry on. Good. Item 19, to receive an update on recruitment.
Right, pleased to confirm that a gentleman called Chris has accepted our offer for a full-time caretaker role. He'll be starting on the 1st of December. And then HR have decided at the moment, with the ongoing situation regarding sickness and absence, that they're going to take on a 6-month fixed-term contract gentleman called Luke. He's currently a contractor with us. It's not a full-time role. It's just to cover us over the 6-month period, and then obviously that will be reviewed again. HR believe that it will be cost neutral, given that we have had a vacancy for quite a significant period of time in the maintenance officer role, and being that the new gentleman, Chris, is on a caretaker rather than a maintenance salary, there is obviously some savings there as well.
Good. Item 20, to receive councillors' sorry, go on.
Can I ask, who's going to do the maintenance then? Are we going to field it out?
Sorry?
The maintenance.
So the overall plan is to go with a maintenance contract with a budget over a period of time so that that can be done. Because in fairness to the staff, with all the legislation changes, they just haven't got the training to do electrical, gas, etc. And the costs and the risks of getting them trained up would be outweighed by having a maintenance contract.
Okay, any other questions? So,
one of the things you raised was the electric for the metering of the car park charging machines. Yeah. Have we going ahead with charging points in the car parks?
It's an application that's in at the moment. We don't know whether we'll be successful with them.
Well, that also includes providing high current electricity in the car park, does it not? It must.
I don't know whether it's high current, but yes, putting electrical points in for those.
Yeah, so that will give us some idea of costings then. Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
There is a cost, but there's also solar. You can have solar panels on top of the machines.
What in Downham?
Yeah.
It never shines.
Well, there you are. I think the ones in Iceland car park are solar. I don't know. Anyway. All right, item 21, submit items for the next agenda. Any items? You can do that. And to confirm the date of the next full council meeting, 12th of December 2023. Okay, thank you all.
7 p.m, Councillor Damon in the Town Hall.
Yeah, in the Town Hall. Right, so there'll be no further business. I'll close the meeting at
8:18.
8:18. Thank you.